Well, first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that.
You all don't remember the Georgia Southern game, do you?
You know, I hope there's Bigfoot. I don't think there is.
Like rat poison. All right, so
it's Division I football. It ain't intramurals.
All right, and welcome back to the Hoppy Huddle podcast. We have returned, and man,
a little bit of a layoff.
It is the long-awaited return. We are not dead. We are still alive. It has been a good chunk of the off season. A lot of stuff has happened in the meantime. A lot of interesting things have happened. And today we have got a lot to talk about. We've got a big show, huge show. We're cracking open the white monster. We're ready to go.
Yeah, I think the last time we let Indiana was not a national champion last time.
Yeah, the last time we talked, Indiana, the Indiana Hoosiers were not national champions. And funny enough, the way the sport moves, we're not even going to talk about it that much tonight. We'll mention it. We'll give our thoughts. But, stuff keeps going, keeps moving. The sport keeps rolling. And we've got –
Listen, daylight savings time's here. The sun just set. We're ready for spring practice, man. We're ready to go.
Oh man, I can't wait for some spring practice reports, some spring game. Everybody's like, "Oh, the team's looking great in the spring game, the green and gold game, the red and blue game, the crimson and cream game. All the color games."
So I was listening. I don't know if you heard Josh Pate last night. His show last night. Did you hear any of that?
I did not. I did not catch it last night.
Okay.
No.
So he did point out, and I haven't listened to the whole thing. I got through part of it. He did point out last year that as we listened to spring, all the quarterback battles last year, we did hear early on last year that Jackson Arnold didn't look good at Auburn, that Mendoza looked good at Indiana, that Mateer looked good at Oklahoma. Well, guess what two teams won the playoff, and guess what team won the national, and guess what team sucked? So sometimes in spring, these quarterback battles, and we hear good things, that does translate into what's going to happen in the fall.
It does. It can translate. So that's something to keep in mind of for sure. Today we got a
lot of stuff that's going to happen in the spring. There are a lot of big positions.
We got plenty of things happening. Today we are talking our way too early top 10s for next year, controversial though they may be. And we're also going to be talking coaching carousel recap. I think. Are we sure that there's no more coaching changes? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think we're done.
There's no more coaching changes.
Short scandal.
We are sort of scandal, of course. So we're going to talk about coaching carousel. We are going to talk about the transfer portal results, as well as kind of look back at a couple of the recruiting classes. Nothing too granular there. We already did a recruiting show. You can go back and watch that if you want. But yeah, we've got a lot going on, a lot looking forward to next year, a lot of change in the sport. And I'm not just talking about the change in the atmosphere of the sport and the setup and the legal changes and the format changes, but we've got a lot of change on all the teams. For a while there, we were kind of in a weird limbo spot in college football where not as much changed from year to year as normally do, because we had the COVID years. People were pausing on the firings because of NIL concerns. NIL was being used for retention a lot more than it was people used to explore the portal. And so for like 2 years, maybe 2-3 years, we had markedly low change in the makeup of the teams in college football. And that is not at all true going into next year. Man, are things going to look different.
Yeah. And already I'm just waiting for some game time and set. I mean, we're not too far from seeing the SEC set some game times. I mean, we're there. I mean, we're on the precipice here of things happening.
Yeah, if you really had the right mindset, we're almost to college football season.
We're 24 Saturdays away.
Yeah.
I actually asked AI the other day. I said, "So when did the SEC set some game times last year?" and it was like some were set in May and some were set in June. I'm already like ready to set some game time, make some plans. Like,
all right, do we need to have a game time reaction show?
We might. Listen, my Delta Airlines account needs some updating. I'm ready to spend some miles.
Okay, yeah.
Well, what do you want to start off with? I mean, you want to start off with? We can go all kinds of different directions today.
I say let's start with our 2 early top 25.
Let me go back first. I know there are a lot of. Let's go back to last Friday for a second.
Okay.
The biggest news was all that big. President Trump had that big round table, and there wasn't a lot done there except a lot of funny pictures and comments. I think what got lost last week was the more interesting thing, in that there's rumblings in Washington that they may change the Broadcasting Act, which would allow. I think there's a Democratic senator and a Republican senator that I think they're starting to get some momentum to allow these conferences to pull media rights. And that's going to be that's the biggest news I've heard in the offseason.
What do you mean allowing the conferences
well, basically right now,
conference each other?
Yes. And that would be huge because that's going to open the floodgates. That's what's going to force the SEC, the ACC, the Big 10, Big 12 to form the Super League. That's what's going to happen. And it sounds like there's some momentum in Congress finally for that. So anyway, just keep right. We'll talk more about that later as that happens. But I think that's the first real movement I think I saw Friday of that happening down the road. And that could be a big deal. So anyway,
when it comes to politics, always bet on nothing. I'm all in on nothing ever happens. Yeah. So just remember, consult the chart. Consult the chart. Nothing ever happens. So we'll see. All
right. I got my top 10. I was ready to go for this.
You got your top 10? I got my top 10. All right. Let's go. Let's just start. Let's start at 1 and we'll just go down the list. Because I think that it'd be more interesting when we get to the 9 and 10s, who gets in and out and left out.
That's my 1's pretty easy, I think.
Okay, go ahead. What's your 1?
And I said it a year ago.
I know you said it a year ago.
It's the Oregon Ducks.
Okay.
I think Dante Moore coming back. I think that team brought enough talent back. I think this is Oregon's year. I think they finally get over the hump. I think they've tasted the playoff. I think they've been in the playoffs now. They got crushed in the playoffs 2 years ago. Last year they tasted some success in the playoff. Now it's time for them to cross that last hurdle. And with Dante Moore coming back, I think the Ducks, 4th Big Ten team in a row. The Big Ten rules right now. This is their year.
Yeah. I don't entirely disagree. I have Ohio State 1.
They're number 2 on my list.
Right. Oregon's number 2 on my list.
Okay. So
my argument is Jeremiah Smith is back.
Julius Sain's back. I mean,
he's still not playing in the NFL somehow. And I think Ohio State will be back with a vengeance. They always recruit really well. They reloaded. They got dudes everywhere. Sayan's back. Another year under his belt could be good for him. I don't have a ton of this exact reason is why I have them over Oregon. I feel like they're pretty evenly matched, and you can flip them. Dante Moore will be amazing. Oregon will be great.
I feel like with Dan, the only reason I'm picking Oregon, I feel like it's one of these things where Dan Lanning has got to break through at some point. And the level, I mean.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's the year right after he lost both his coordinators. That's my only.
No, I agree. And Will Stein, I think especially Will. I'm probably more Will Stein's going to hurt him more. Yeah.
And we haven't seen. He's replaced coordinators before, so he has. But this group, these two guys have been with him a long time, and they're moving on. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
I think I had those 2, 1 and 2. I thought they were clearly. They were clearly
1 and
the
2,
best.
There's a gap.
There's a gap, and I don't think 3. My 3. I mean, there's a gap,
but it's not a valley.
It's not a valley, but I think it's a gap. And my number 3 may surprise you.
Well, is it Texas?
It is Texas. Jeez, did you see my list?
No, that's my number 3. It's not going to surprise me at all.
Well, and I was not super high on Arch Manning last year going into the season.
Me neither.
I thought he progressed as the season got on. Once the media was killing him, but I thought he did make progression throughout the year. I think this is the year where he's going to feel settled. They again go get Cam Coleman. I mean, Cam Coleman is a baller. I mean, they're gonna throw to him. They're gonna figure out how to use him.
Yeah, I just like competent quarterback throwing to Cam Coleman. That's kind of all you have to say, right? Like,
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
Steve Sarkisian, you don't even have to scheme stuff for Cam Coleman. And we mock Sark for kind of like overdoing it sometimes with his tunnel screens and all that. But like you give him real weapons on the outside, their line will be better. Arch Manning will have better protection. So yeah, I got Texas at 3. I'm never a hook 'em guy, but I think they're going to be really good.
They're really talented. My only concern with Texas is I think they did lose a little bit defensively off last year's team. I think they can replace them, but that's my only pause for this Texas team.
Yeah. Let's go to my number 4, and this may actually surprise you. My number 4.
We did not coordinate notes, by the way.
By the way, yeah, we didn't coordinate at all.
UVA is not making my top 10. I'll just say that right now.
No, not in the top 10.
I have no idea what your top 10 is, and I made mine up without any conversation with you.
Texas Tech.
Whoa. Okay. Now they're in my top 10. I don't have them as high as you.
So this is partially a belief in Brendan Sorsby. He was exceptional last year on a pretty average Cincinnati team. Like,
yeah.
And you're giving him Texas Tech has got talent on that offense.
Yeah.
They've got some guys coming back. Also, the other big portal get that they got lots of guys in the portal, but the other big one was the defensive lineman from Wake Forest, Mateen Ibirogaba. What Mateen? We're gonna call him Mateen. He was unbelievable at Wake Forest last year. He was the number 13 overall transfer player. They got him as well. That defense will be stacked. It will be reloaded on defense.
But they lost the heart of that. They lost several key people.
They did, but the difference is their offense is going to be much better. They have a great scheme on offense. They just didn't have the quarterback to execute it last year, and they absolutely do. Sorsby is a great decision maker and goes with this offense. They have elite talent all across the board, and I think Texas Tech, given it not quite as dramatic, but Texas Tech this year was like their last year for Indiana, and then this year they're going to come in, and I think they'll be a lot better and really elevate to another level. Also, there's kind of a lot of question marks at every team below them. So, No.
Well, they're going to roll through the Big 12. There's no doubt. I mean, I think they.
In the top 10, in the teams below them.
Yeah.
All of these teams, you can find things to pick out now that we've got outside the top 3, really. And so that's kind of where I'm at with Texas Tech.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not even getting the fact that Texas Tech also got a gift from the schedule makers in the Big 12. Everything rolls their way in the Big 12.
Oh, yeah.
Before we even look at it. So I there's no way Texas Tech's not in the playoffs next year. I just don't see it.
No, they're a shoo-in.
Okay, my number 4, and I say this so reluctantly, it's Notre Dame. And it's not because I believe in them that team's that talented, because I think Jeremiah Love was really the heart and soul of that team. I just think they're not going to lose. I mean, they have one game they play. It's Miami. That's it. And
also CJ Carr is really good.
CJ Carr is good. I don't buy the CJ Carr Heisman hype. I'm sorry. I don't buy that. I think he's vaulted to the top Heisman odds. Have you seen that?
I mean, wasn't he number 5 in total QBR last year? Or number 4 or something like that?
Okay. But their schedule is soft as tissue paper. They got literally the easiest schedule next year.
Yeah, I don't buy the Heisman hype because of the style that they play. I do think he is that caliber of quarterback.
I think he's good. I think they have number 4 only because I think they will probably get to that 4 ranking almost because they will be 11-1 if they beat Miami or 12-0. I just think they'll be there at 4.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've got, we'll get to Miami in a second. All right. Who's your 5?
Indiana.
Okay. I had them a little lower.
I understand they lost, their Heisman Trophy number 1 overall pick at quarterback, and they lost a ton of their guys from the JMU squads that have led the team. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not picking against Sig. Like, you can't do it. He's got magic there. They won a national title at Indiana. I can't have them lower than 5. Okay,
I'm going to give you a reason. And I have them at 8. So you've got a couple of teams higher. Texas. I have them at 8. I still think they're probably playoff caliber, but I'm gonna give you one reason I don't have him as high.
What's that?
It's Hoover.
Is
I think
Josh Hoover.
Hoover's
Yeah,
trumping.
that is the reason I didn't have them as a national title contender, really.
He's a good quarterback. He's not Mendoza. He throws double-digit interceptions. Two of the last 3 years, he's turned the ball over way too much.
Yeah.
And that's my issue. Now, if they can figure out if he can be constrained in that offense and he takes those interceptions from, I think he had 9, 13, and 11 in the last 3 years. I think it's somewhere like that. But if he gets those down to 2, 3, 4, if it's somewhere like in that range, then maybe they'd be higher on my list. But I think that's going to be my issue.
Yeah, and the thing with Indiana is the way I put this list together, I put it based on how I think the teams will probably end up at the end of the season. I didn't count schedule, but like kind of the vibe I was getting. Not necessarily the likelihood to win a national title. I think a couple of teams lower on this list have a higher likelihood of winning the national title, but will probably finish lower, just given the vibe, like a higher ceiling, lower floor thing. So I don't think Indiana's ceiling is necessarily national title, primarily because of Hoover, like you said. But I think they're gonna pretty much roll through everybody in the Big Ten, except maybe Ohio State and Oregon, and if they play,
Probably
so that's kind of where I have them at 5. We'll see, but I have so much confidence in Cignetti. There's nothing that really any offseason can take that away. Like I just saw that team.
Yeah, I buy that. You gotta trust. You gotta trust that. My number 5 is Georgia. I'm not gonna take away 2-time defending SEC champions. Gunnar Stockton back. While I think the SEC is weaker overall, I think you got to believe that. I mean, I just got to trust that they're not going to go away. I think the talent level is high enough, and with a veteran quarterback, I believe in veteran quarterbacks. So I think Georgia's 5 on my list.
Yeah, this is going to shock you. I don't have Georgia in my top 10.
I don't. Why? Where's the talent drop off?
The talent drop off is less of Georgia dropping and more, I think, multiple other SEC teams are really going to elevate this year.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, 6 I have mine is Notre Dame. We just talked about.
And my 6 is Miami.
Okay, yeah.
I think Darian Mensah is an upgrade over Carson Beck. I thought Carson Beck did a good job for Miami last year. I thought he gave him everything. He got him through the playoffs. I know he's not perfect, but he played well and got him within just a break or two in that final game of winning the national championship. Darian Mensah is a better quarterback.
I think so.
And I think with Malachi Tony, what was lost in this whole thing is he also brought over his best wide receiver at Duke. I think the Miami offense is going to be pretty good. So I think they're going to be able to score points. Now, again, they're losing some people on the defensive end. I think the Miami offensive line will be okay. Cristobal always figures out the offensive line.
Yeah, the line will be fine.
So I think while they give up a little on defense, maybe, I think offensively they're going to be pretty impressive. I think they reloaded. They were highly, in the portal, they were pretty highly ranked. They only Ole Miss, Texas, LSU did really well in the portal. I think Miami's going to be a contender. Will be my ACC favorite, and I think they will be a contender for national title again.
Yeah, I agree. I have Miami at 8. But
I'm swapping out Texas Tech and Indiana down there. You got Miami at 8. Okay.
Yeah. And number 7, this is probably where Georgia would slot in, but I have a different SEC champ.
No.
LSU.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Lane has never. Lane doesn't win the big games. I'm sorry, he just doesn't.
Lane doesn't win the big games, but yet so far, and what's the motivational phrase? The power of yet, right? The power of yet is that Lane Kiffin hasn't done it yet, and you know what he has.
And by the way, Reed is right. Mensah's the best in the nation. Mensah's going to be good for Miami. You wait.
He will. I'm not doubting that.
I hear you. Everybody thinks Lane is
the best returning quarterback in college football. Sam Leavitt.
No, not in the best returning. Listen, Arizona State was happy to run him out of town. There were questions about Leavitt last year. Don't tell me he's the best returning quarterback in college football. That's not even close. CJ Carr's a better returning quarterback. We can go down. Dante Moore's a better returning quarterback. Julian Sands a better returning quarterback. Don't give me.
Sam Leavitt, sorry, not Dante Moore. Not Dante Moore. Sorry, not Dante Moore. Dante Moore's above.
Sam Leavitt had a good 2024. Arizona State was happy for him to leave. There were issues. I mean, listen, maybe Lane fixes Sam Levin, but don't tell me this is a slam dunk.
It is a slam dunk. It is absolutely a slam dunk. Lane Kiffin and Sam Levin are going to run through the SEC. They're going to win the SEC championship. Not to mention they've brought in dudes, Jordan Seaton, the tackle, defensive lineman, Prince Will from Ole Miss. Like, they've got dudes all over the roster already. They brought in some couple great quarter pieces. I think LSU wins the SEC. I think, well, maybe not wins the SEC. Them in Texas, they'll throw a game. But I think LSU's squarely in the playoff, and I think they're the second best team in the SEC by my ranking here.
They did not make my top 10 because I believe good old Lane will find a way to screw it up.
No, he won't. He's got him, boy. He's got his – this is his place. He's got it in the bag. Lane.
Mm-hmm.
Lane train has arrived.
All right. Well, you know, my 7 and 8 were Texas Tech and Indiana. So
Okay,
where were you at? You had where were you at?
LSU and Miami 7 and 8.
Okay, my number 9. Have we forgotten about Alabama?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're washed.
So I do think Kalen DeBoer is a good coach. There's still plenty of talent in Alabama. I think my issue with Alabama, I don't think they should have been in the playoff last year. That's a whole other matter. But I think with Alabama, for me, their season is going to depend on who's going to win that quarterback battle. Is it going to be Austin Mack or is it going to be Keelan Russell? And are they going to get it right? And is that quarterback going to perform?
It should
that
be Keelan Russell, right?
Oh, I don't know about that. Austin Mack didn't go anywhere.
I know.
Austin Mack could have transferred out. And Austin Mack's, I think, fairly talented. And he may be the right guy. I mean, Kalen had him at Washington. He picked him at Washington.
Yeah,
I know.
I know. But the scouts love Russell. They love him.
I understand. But could he be an Arch Manning, a guy that sits there for 2 years?
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. It's not a matter of who wins the battle, but are they going to pick the right guy to win it for this year? I don't know. So to me, that's Alabama. That's the wild card. Other than that, there's plenty of talent on that roster. The talent, there's no doubt there's talent in there.
Yeah.
But you got to get the quarterback right.
You got to get the quarterback right, and you got to come out on top in the pile that is going to be the middle of the SEC, the top middle of the SEC.
Yes. Between
at my 9, I have another team from the SEC that's going to, I think, will come out of the pile instead of Alabama. That's the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yeah, I thought about them a lot. I think
they're going to be so good on defense. And imagine if they had a slight bit of running game, which I think they can't get any worse, right? Like, I think their offense will be improved. I think with a healthy quarterback, I think they'll be better on offense, score some points. If you compare just a competent offense with that defense, look out. I've been big on Venables at Oklahoma since he got hired, even though, some of they were down, kind of at the beginning, and they've kind of picked it up this year. They made the playoff this year. Their roster just seems better in most ways. I got Oklahoma at 9. I think they're a serious contender. I think they'll be in the playoff again. And, I think they'll be up there at the top of the SEC.
It was important for them to make the playoffs to be competitive last year. And they're right there. I think you're right there when you think about Alabama, Ole Miss.
And yet you could slot Alabama in there as well. Like either one, really.
Yeah. Who you got at 10?
I have got now. I think me and you might actually agree on this. I've come around a little bit.
You're going to go there, aren't you?
I've been kind of a hater.
Yes, say it, because I've got them at 10.
The USC Trojans.
Yes, that's exactly who I've got at 10, baby. I knew it.
Yes. I don't know if it's the off season, if it's the boredom, but I think Lincoln's cooking something out in California.
I think he is. You got the quarter, a third year guys on a third year in the system of the quarterback. I like veteran quarterbacks. Yeah.
Yeah. Maeva, veteran quarterback, which has become kind of an X factor in college football. Look around at the best quarterbacks in college football. They've all been veterans pretty much recently, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've got an insane recruiting class. There's a couple of guys that'll probably get some serious playing time year one. A couple of those higher guys. They do lose Lemon, the wide receiver, but they've got other weapons. Yeah. And I think the Big Ten is crowded at the top, but I think there's space for USC to separate itself, especially with Michigan kind of rebuilding. I think they can slot right into that second tier of the Big Ten pretty nicely, make the playoff. And, with Lincoln Riley and his offense, and then hopefully an improved defense based on, some of the guys they brought in, I think they can be a good team. Number 10 playoff team. Let's go.
Yep. That's what I've got at 10. I've not done a deep dive into their schedule yet. As far as how this is, don't get me started on that. I've not figured out yet how these schedules going to work, because you got Washington, Michigan, Penn State.
I haven't dove into the schedules either. That was too much. I
know Penn State's got a favorable schedule. Penn State's got a favorable schedule. Rocco Beck has come over with Matt Campbell. I think that Penn State could surprise people in the Big Ten. I mean, Kyle Whittingham's a good coach. If he gets anything out of Bryce Underwood, I mean, you're going to have a lot in the Big Ten there. We say Michigan could be the clear 4. I mean, not Michigan. USC could be a clear 4. I think you got 3 teams nipping at their heels with Washington. Can Washington figure out with, what's his why am I drawing a blank on his name?
Locker room drama guy.
Quarterback. Anyway,
I forget his name. You know what I'm talking about, the quarterback that left and came back, and
Right, yeah. I mean, you got a lot of teams there that I don't know whose schedule's going to break and how people are going to react.
DeMond Williams.
I need to do a little. Yeah, there you go. Depending on how all that breaks, I think could affect USC. But I like Lincoln. I like the recruiting class. I like a veteran quarterback. I think if their schedule is favorable, I think you've got it set up for a playoff spot. And honestly, I think Lincoln needs it this year. I think they need to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, don't get the playoff, people are going to start getting uncomfortable.
There may be. Reed in the chat wants to talk about Virginia Tech. No, I don't believe Virginia Tech's going to the playoffs for the top 10.
I think Virginia Tech is going to be fantastic. Number 23 because of name recognition, right there with Iowa. Just
they're going to become the new
mid-city, number 23, Tennessee, Virginia Tech, Iowa, just mid-ranked teams that'll be quality.
Because James Franklin will always keep them alive for his name, and they will never win a big game because of it. Mm-hmm. James Franklin doesn't win big games. So let's be realistic. It's not going to change. Couldn't win him at Penn State. He's not going to win him at Virginia Tech. So because you've got teams with more money and deeper pockets. Miami, SMU. We can go down the list. Clemson. If Florida State ever figures it out, there's better teams in the ACC.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
No, but I had teams that I had were on the fringe. I mean, we didn't talk about Texas A&M. We didn't talk about Ole Miss. We didn't talk about Michigan. I think Florida is going to surprise some people this year with that offense.
I can't put Florida in there.
I know, not top 10. But you look at their schedule, and we're going to have are we going to have a special Florida edition? Maybe a little guest host.
So, there is a possibility, time permitting, that we may have a Florida football expert come on the show, live from the state of Florida, Tampa, sometime next weekend, or this coming weekend. So we may have a Florida expert, University of Florida grad. I'll leave you guys to guess who that could be, but we may be doing a special live episode.
But there's a lot of teams as you go down. I was looking at my list. I mean, we haven't talked about Washington. We didn't talk about SMU. I mean, we didn't talk about Louisville. There's a lot of teams fringe top
A&M.
10. Well, A&M clearly, although I think they may have hit their limits. I just don't know with Marcel Reed if they're not. We didn't see the best of them last year.
Mario Craver's back, so
I know. So, but it just as I was putting this together, I was just thinking, oh man, yeah, I get excited about March Madness, but there's nothing like college football. Once March Madness is done, it's a long drought. I mean, we get a little Masters action.
We get the Masters, so
Okay, they're going to try to tell us the World Cup special. I'm going to go on vacation, forget about it. I really don't care. Give me the media days. That's what I want to get to.
yeah. I tried to end a lottery for World Cup tickets, didn't get them.
Yeah. So, well,
but
I didn't. I will watch the nothing. Anyway. All right. Well, that was our top 10 preseason. We'll come. We'll mark this. We'll come back next playoff season and we'll compare notes.
Yeah.
And see where we go. So.
All right. You want to talk coaching carousel?
Yeah. Well, it's finally ended. You want to talk about just the highlights of what we think?
Yeah. So we had one of the craziest coaching carousels probably since the 2019 year where they had all that crazy movement. Man, that's so long ago now. But yeah, so I guess I'll just go down the list. Major changes. Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss to LSU. Pete Golding is now the head coach. Fun fact, Kent State did not hire the Prime Minister of Canada. They hired Mark Carney, but not that Mark Carney. Different Mark Carney. Stanford got their former quarterback, Tavita Pritchard, as their head coach. Bob Chesney, the JMU coach, much rumored for lots of jobs. He went to UCLA. I'll be excited to see how that goes. And just jump in if you have comments about any of these guys.
Well, I mean, we all, the Lane drama, took forever.
We've talked about that enough, but
yeah. I mean, LSU put all their chips on the table. He better win the national championship in 3 years, or they're gonna, turn him into a crawfish boil down there.
Seriously.
Yeah. Ole Miss, I think they're gonna regret Pete Golding in 3 years. I don't know. I think he caught lightning in the bottle with a really good team. I think whether he can sustain that is going to be different.
Saban hired him at a really young age, and so there might be something there. I don't know.
Maybe. I think we're gonna harp on Florida here. I think the more I listen to Summerall, I think he was the right guy for that job. Florida fans were not happy at first, but I think he's going to do the right thing there. I think he sounds like the right hire. I think that will end up being good. He's starting to pick up some momentum there on the recruiting trail. I think Auburn, Alex Golesh, that's been a little slower start for them down there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not totally sold out on Alex Golesh. I think there's plenty of opportunity, and the biggest way to increase that is, of course, winning on the get field. He's a great schemer, but we'll see.
We talked about it a little while ago. Oregon's offensive coordinator Will Stein went to Kentucky.
That's right.
I know he's from Kentucky. I think that's a hard job to win at right now.
I'm surprised he went there. I feel like there were plenty of other jobs that he could have interviewed for that were probably better opportunity, and especially being a Louisville guy. Like, I don't know.
Well, I think he's talented. I just don't know if Kentucky's going to be able to give him the resources.
And it was a tough job that was maximized when many of the big SEC programs were down and were in disarray. And most of those programs are running on, if not all cylinders, most of their cylinders now.
Can you now? Here's a set. Arkansas SEC job. Who's the new Arkansas coach?
Ryan Silverfield from Memphis. Yeah,
most people can't get that.
Yeah, well, I have a list pulled up, so.
Yeah, I know. I think that's another good coach, difficult position.
I don't think he really maximized what he could do at Memphis, though. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. I think that's
I think he kind of underachieved at Memphis. Memphis has tons of resources for a G5 comparatively, and he did decently well.
Yeah.
Eric Morris to Oklahoma State is really interesting to me. They brought Drew Mestemaker with him. I think Oklahoma State has a lot of potential if you can get that place going. I think something that will have to be talked about is where the funding is going to come from.
Well, I was talking to somebody I know who's an Oklahoma State grad, and an older Oklahoma State grad, not somebody our age, my age or your age, someone older than me.
Yeah.
And he said they had cut the well dry for Gundy at the end. And they're opening the spigot back up now for Morris.
Okay.
That they basically cut it dry because they wanted Gundy gone, and now that he's gone, they're opening it back up. So,
well, that's good to hear. I do know that it's not quite as destitute, I guess, is what you're saying, as it looked. I think Eric Morris is a fantastic offensive mind. Look who he's coached. Cam Ward. Didn't he coach Mateer also?
I think so.
Right.
I don't remember, maybe.
Hey, Mestamaker was fantastic. Great offense. They love to score points in Stillwater. So that's a good hire, I think. Who else?
We talked about Franklin, Virginia Tech. I think he will get the one thing about Franklin, and all kidding aside, I think he will get them back to where they're winning. They're not going to have losing seasons anymore.
They'll probably average 8-9 wins this season would be my guess.
I think it's easier said than done now in the ACC. This is a different ACC.
Yeah.
I think they can win 7-8 games a year, but to average 9 games a year, I mean, SMU's a better program. Louisville stepped up. Miami, Clemson, Florida State. We can go down the list. Duke.
Well, Clemson.
Don't knock Clemson. Listen,
dude,
they had a rough year last year, but there's still
there's not a lot of fire coming from South Carolina right now, but
no, but you can have a bad year and let's play hypothetical. If Dabo stepped away today, you don't think that Clemson's job's attractive?
I think a tier 1 coach leaves for Clemson if he steps away today. Yeah.
There's a rabid fan base, tons of money. That's a big time job.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I just think Dabo is kind of, I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think Franklin just doesn't step into the ACC and assume that you're going to get to 9-10 wins every year. You're not anymore.
No, but I think they'll schedule easy out of conference, and so I think
they tried that with ODU and JMU, and they lose.
Well, yeah, but the one thing you can say about Franklin is he wins the games he's supposed to.
So. Yeah, but that was the old Big Ten when he only had to play 2 games of any consequence.
Right. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think you can do that anymore in these conferences.
I don't know. You might be right. I'm not super high on him, but I'm not super low on him either. I think.
No, I think so. They're not going to go 5-7 anymore. They're just not.
Tosh Lupoy, Oregon defensive coordinator, is the new Cal head coach. I kind of don't understand this one. I'm gonna be honest. I thought Wilcox has been maximizing that program for years now. I don't know why they would move on from him.
I don't get it either.
It doesn't make any sense to me, but I'm not really plugged into the Cal football scene. So, Pat Fitzgerald at Michigan State.
I think that's a great hire.
I think it's a fantastic hire. I think a lot of people were like, what is he going to do about the NIL era? It's like most of the other coaches adjusted fine. Pat has seemed open to it, and every coach that seemed open to it has been able to make that transition, really. I think he's fantastic at Northwestern for the time and the place where he was. I think if he could bring that energy, and he's a good coach too, just a good, solid coach. Yeah. I think he can bring them from like the dregs of the Big Ten to solidly in the middle right there with,
And that's probably all you're going to get. Well, someone the other day, was talking about Lou Holtz, and Lou Holtz passed away last week, one of the all-time legends.
Yeah, rest in peace.
And last coach at Notre Dame to win a national title. Someone said, well, Lou couldn't coach today in the NIL era. And then someone else replied, was like, well, no, he absolutely would, because great coaches, they're just good in whatever, and they adapt to whatever they're in.
Right.
You have to be a good communicator. You have to be someone that can, and I think Pat Fitzgerald's that kind of guy. I mean, I think he has to adapt to this era. He's been a few years since he's been around. I think he can do that. I mean,
I think so too.
Who else is on your list?
Who else? Oh, Colin Klein returns home to Kansas State to bring the Wildcats back to glory. You say what you will about the Kansas State program. Colin Klein is one of the best offensive minds in college football.
I would agree with that. I don't know. This gets almost to the same issue I had earlier with what program I was talking about, Kentucky. I just don't know in the modern world how Kansas State fits into the new Big 12 with BYU's and the
It'll be
other.
Interesting, yeah.
I just don't know.
Even in the old Big 12, they were one of the least funded schools.
Yeah. So are they going to be able to be competitive? I just don't know.
Yeah, it might be a scenario of him scheming up 7 wins every year. Like, and that's
and maybe
and
that's okay. I don't.
to his own thing. It's his alma mater. He's a legend there, and he could have had, I think, next cycle some real great head coaching opportunities if he had stayed at Texas A&M, and he chose
he
to
worked
go to
wonders
Kansas
with
State.
Marcel Reed. I thought.
Yeah,
I think Marcel Reed's got some limited ceiling. I think.
So, but
I thought he did a good job.
I'll be excited for them. I'll be excited to see that. Jimmy Rogers at Iowa State did fine at Washington State. We'll see. This is the other thing. Maybe Kansas State has some room because Iowa State maybe steps back a little bit.
Maybe.
Because really, I mean, Matt Campbell is the greatest college football coach Iowa State has ever had and probably will ever have. And he did so much good for that program. You can't even hate him. He's been there forever. And he really just took that program to a level that it has never seen. And so can Jimmy Rogers live up to that? I mean, odds are probably not. Can he be a good coach there? And can he find some success? Sure. But I'll be interested to see how that goes. I say they're probably on the decline there. The other one, Kyle Whittingham to Michigan.
Great hire. Absolutely.
Amazing hire. I love Kyle Whittingham. Yeah, just
you needed an adult in the room at Michigan. You've got one. Now, he's not going to be there forever, but I think he's going to steady the ship. I think you're going to see Bryce Underwood run the ball more. I think you're going to get that program turned right back around quickly.
Yeah. Utah promotes the longtime coordinator, Morgan Scally? Who knows?
That's they're going to start to slip, I believe.
You take away the guy at the top. A couple other interesting ones. Charlie Huff from Southern Miss after one season goes to Memphis. He's had a weird coaching tenure
because he left after one season from Marshall to go to Southern Miss.
Right, but he got fired from Marshall despite winning the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
Or he didn't get fired, but he was
they didn't really like him.
They didn't like him, like, personally, I guess. Who doesn't like winning? I don't know what was going on there. He goes to Southern Miss, does really well there for Southern Miss, and then goes to Memphis. I think that could be like sleepy, like one of the best G5 hires of the entire season. Because if he can really maximize Memphis's resources, which I think Silverfield was underutilizing, I mean, they could be the contender right there with Boise and USF for the G5 spot.
Oh, we hadn't talked about the best G5 hire.
Oh, yeah. How this happened, I have no idea. Brian Hartline to USF?
Oh, that wasn't what I was talking about.
What are you talking? Oh, Billy Napier to JMU? Is that
Billy is back.
And, we mocked this. He won a lot of games in the Sun Belt. I think it's a great hire by JMU.
No, JMU may be okay. No, Brian Hartline, USF. Yeah, that's going to be really fascinating to watch because, I mean, this is either going to explode and be great or I don't know.
Or completely blow up.
But if he does well at USF, he's going to be the hottest name around.
He will be the next Florida State head coach. If he does well.
If he has a good year or two, people are going to be all over that.
Because he's an insane recruiter. If he can bring guys into USF and they start winning, I mean,
and he was an NFL player forever. He's got tons of money. He doesn't need to do this.
Right. Yeah. So, I think JMU, Billy Napier is a great hire. He won the games in the Sun Belt. Mock him for what happened in Florida all you want, which, there's a lot to say there. He won games at Louisiana. I think he can win games at JMU, and JMU's got fantastic resources, especially for the Sun Belt. Same thing with USF. Is a new stadium going to open this year or next year for USF?
I don't remember. They may be another year away. I can't recall.
Yeah, but I mean, he'll be able to get players from the state of Florida. He has those connections. So it'll be Neil Brown goes to UNT. So North Texas. I think that's basically it. That's kind of Jim Mora, our favorite Jim Mora, went to Colorado State.
Jim Mora's a good coach.
Great hire by Colorado State, by the way. If a guy can win at UConn, hire that dude immediately.
Yeah, he'll have Colorado State respectable.
Yeah.
Very quickly. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, um,
All right. Do you want to talk about major portal players or recruiting or anything? Anything I want to say about
sure,
that?
we can do something for a quick 10 minutes or so. We don't want to drag this on too long, and then I think the next one we'll do will be kind of maybe after spring gets going for a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I use 24/7 when I look at portal.
Okay.
I mean, the clear winners. I mean, LSU, Ole Miss. The usual suspects won in the portal. I don't know if there was any real shock.
Indiana made big moves in the portal.
They did.
Yeah. Hoover. I also liked. They got Nick Marsh, the wide receiver from super physical guy from Michigan State. Louisville and A&M also made some moves. The main guys, some of the big players that signed, of course, we talked about Cam Coleman and Sam Levitt and Prince Will.
Yeah.
Jordan Seaton to Colorado to LSU. Tennessee got Chaz Coleman, a fantastic edge rusher from Penn State.
Yeah.
And
I thought, if you think about just needs, there were a number of schools. I thought what was interesting, Darian Mensah, obviously in his legal battle. Miami has gone to the model now where they're just going to pick their best quarterback every year and buy him.
Yeah.
I think that seems to be their model.
Kind of seems to work. So
Dylan Raiola, I thought, was fascinating. He left a starting job to go sit behind Dante Moore.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I wonder if he finally had a grown-up conversation with somebody. It was like, hey, buddy, you want to actually play in the NFL? You need some help. Coy Perch,
I don't think
he played for Minnesota. He was fantastic. He played two ways in a couple of games. I don't know if you know that. Corner or I guess safety, defensive back, and he plays some special plays at receiver too. I'll be really interested to see how they use him at Oregon. I think that's a great get. He's an athletic freak.
I thought one of the more underrated one was, and give it to Lane. Lane picked up his starting quarterback. He also picked up a backup quarterback. He took Houston Longstreet from USC. To back up for a quarterback, which is a really good pickup. I thought. I thought Longstreet would be Jaden Maeva's backup. So anyway, that was a big pickup.
Justice Hayes went to Georgia Tech. I'll be interested to see in that offense the way they run the ball. That'll be really good. I gotta mention my team. Okay, Baylor signing the hometown guy, the prophecy from 3, 4, 5 years ago, where I was like, guys, imagine if DJ Lagway came to Baylor. Imagine how amazing that would be. It's here. I'm delusional. Does DJ have a lot of problems as a quarterback? Yes. Does he have insane potential as a quarterback? Also, yes. If we can maximize that potential in our offense, Baylor is going to be right there competing to, make the Big 12 title game. And, with a great quarterback, can overcome a lot of flaws. If you can't maximize DJ Lagway, well, you kind of went all in on him. So it's kind of a last-ditch effort for Dave Aranda. They push all their chips onto a fantastic quarterback. Legacy, by the way, his father, Derek Lagway, played for Baylor. He grew up a Baylor fan. He's already ingrained himself in the Baylor community. Everybody loves him. There's my little off-season Kool-Aid that I've been drinking.
I didn't know did Baylor pick up 2011 defensive starters? Because I think that was the problem last year.
We picked up like 30 guys in the portal. So are any of them good? Who knows?
Yeah. It's getting to the point where you lose track. You do keep going down this list.
Deuce Knight to Ole Miss.
There's so many players that transfer, and I think we're going to get to the point in a couple of years where there's going to be some guardrails, and people are not going to be able to transfer everything.
You hope so.
Yeah, I think they will, because they will. I think we're going to get to collective bargaining at some point, and there's going to be a stoppage in that. They're going to be transferred because they're going to sign contracts. They're going to have contracts.
Yeah. The Ohio State receiver Quincy Porter to Notre Dame. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's a big get for. So I just, there's so many of them. You just don't know how many of them are going to work out. You see, UVA picked up Bo Pribula. They also picked up Eli Holstein to try to for quarterbacks.
Yep.
I guess Pribula will be the starter. There's just a lot. I mean, a lot of. But that's why I go back to that top 10. Is I trust teams that have got returning veteran quarterbacks for the most part.
Not even returning, just veteran. Like they could be from somewhere else.
Yeah.
But if you've got experience,
yeah,
that's worth more than gold in college football.
Yeah, and that's where Sam Levitt, if Lane Kiffin can get Sam Levitt to really play at his best, Sam's been a 3-year starter, at that level. But
yeah,
Soares being a starter, you like those guys. So anyway,
all right. Do you want to mention anything else? Anything?
No, I think as we head into spring, I think what I'm gonna start to listen to for different podcasts and different things I'm gonna read is just some of the position battles. I think we do have a lot of quarterback battles. I mentioned Alabama earlier. There's some other battles going on. I think we want to just start to hear how all these people that transferred, how they're fitting in. What are we hearing in the spring? And I know some of these places have gone away from spring games, but I'm more interested in hearing what's going on in spring battles as we get into the summer. Like, what teams? Remember, there is no spring portal, so if you didn't fix your problem in your first portal, your problem's not fixed.
Yeah.
So, no, I like the next 3 or 4 weeks. We get to hear reports from a lot of teams, hear what's going on in camps. I like this time of year.
And it'll make the reports coming out of camps more reliable because it won't be everybody's agent spreading that they're winning the battle to get the next portal window, right?
I mean, it was pretty clear last year. Jackson Arnold was not performing well. Everybody heard that.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that was the precursor to how Auburn having a bad season.
But then sometimes you get the stuff where it doesn't happen. So it'll be interesting. Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready for spring practice. We've got March Madness next week. So that'll be a ton of fun. Should we do like a mini March Madness reaction after the weekend?
Yeah. So what did last year we did a coaching bracket. Maybe we need to come up with a different bracket or something. I'll put that. Why don't you think about it?
Put that on the burner. Let it simmer.
Yeah, we'll have our own little mini bracket for something.
We'll do something.
We got to do a few fun topics in the off season to kill a few shows. We got to come up with.
I'm sure we'll do program ranking, stadium ranking. We'll rank everything.
We got to do the normal rankings.
Yeah.
So we'll do a few fun shows. We got a few breaks. We're definitely not going to be on every week because just
no, we're not going to be every week. Just doesn't work with the schedule. But as we get into the summer and get into preseason, then we'll start picking it up and we'll start doing conference.
I can't remember last year. Maybe you can remember, or maybe even Reed can tell us or somebody. Did we ever actually do a full breakdown of 2019 LSU versus 2001 Miami? Have we settled that debate on this show?
I don't know. I know we talked about it, but we can always talk about it again.
I feel like we need a wonderful show to talk about that one debate because you and I are on different sides of that argument.
Oh, man. Yeah. So I feel like that always comes up, but
yeah.
Anyway.
No, we'll have some fun shows here. Yeah, we'll have some fun stuff here, but it'll be hit and miss. It won't be every week, Reed. Sorry. If you're going to the gym, it won't be every Monday night or every Tuesday night. But we'll try to be a little.
By the way, a little preview. If you're still listening this late into the podcast, I got some stuff in the works. Okay, I got some new graphics we're cooking up. Now, this is not going to be ready for the off season. Some of this stuff will be ready for maybe preseason or next season.
Get us back on podcasts and Spotify all the time.
Yes, I'm getting everything fixed. We're going to be on Spotify. We're going to be posting the shorts. As soon as they get back on social media, I'm off it right now.
People need to hear the correct opinions.
Yeah. You guys need to get your opinions in every format possible. So we're going to be back on all the social medias. We're going to have some new graphics. We're going to have some new sounds. I'm working on a little soundboard integration, so we might be able to get some fun sound effects into the pod. So we're. You notice I got some new headphones. What do we think? What do we think of the headphones? They're pretty nice, pretty comfy. So we've got some stuff in the works. I'm even working on a kind of long form college football edit, kind of like I did last season. So we'll see how that goes. I'll probably drop that closer to the preseason as well. But yeah, we've got some stuff in the works. So Hoppy Huddle,
up our game for year 3.
We're not going anywhere. Year 3 loading. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the Hoppy
Our
Huddle.
next show may be a little Florida preview. The next show, I think, a little mini show, right?
Yeah, I think we'll have a mini show. Florida expert joins the show, and we'll talk to him. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow on all the socials. And if you, by the way, also another thing we're going to be doing this off season, we're going to be taking callers. Okay.
Oh, yes.
We're going to have you, the viewer, if you want to call into the show and argue your dumb points. Reed already said in the chat that he wants to call in and talk NFL draft. We can do that. You can call in. We can talk NFL draft. If you think you're smarter than us, get in here on the show. We'll talk to you about it. The only rule is you got to keep it PG because we all want to stay employed here. So that's the rule. But we will be taking callers. I'm gonna be working on testing that and getting that system with the link and everything set up. So stay tuned. We got lots in the works for here at the Hoppy Huddle.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good night.
Everybody have a good night.